To begin this journey, we must first discuss what exactly could be the cause of the Mandela Effect and understand that there is a convincing amount of evidence that supports the fact that large companies and organizations are actively funding projects that deal with quantum physics. We will begin with the quantum computer. The field of quantum computing stretches back 30+ years, but has only recently begun to take large strides with the development of special equipment. There are a number of skeptics who question the legitimacy of the claims made about the potential of current-day quantum computing, referring to reports made by those whom have allegedly been given sufficient time with the machines to stress test the full capabilities of a D-wave quantum computer. As for whether these claims are valid or if the tests were suitable for stress testing such an intricate and expensive device is really up to interpretation. Based on the less than efficient explanation to the device's shortcomings when the claims were made. As a newcomer to the topic, you may be asking yourself, what does a computer have to do with the changes in the world around me? How can some type of expensive computer have an effect on me remembering something a particular way? You are not alone when feeling this. Even those of us who are well aware of the implications of these claims, we still ask ourselves those very same questions. You have to understand that quantum physics is something that has left scientists baffled for decades and has become the science that observes that which can't be explained. To fully appreciate the Mandela Effect, you have to understand that the science that could explain it has always been rooted in the world you live in. From witnessing particles in two places at once, simultaneously, to lending credibility to theories of time and dimensional travel. This is a very real science that every scientist will outwardly admit exists and amazes them. There is no denying this. This is how your world works and is important to note when continuing from here. Without a complete crash course on quantum physics, we will explain what needs to be explained and implore you to research the topic more for yourself, as it is quite possibly one of the most amazingly underappreciated and mind-bending aspects of our everyday lives. To start off, understand that we actively witness particles rapidly blinking in and out of existence. This is a fact. These are referred to as virtual particles. Disobeying the energy-momentum relation, dealing with Einstein's theory of relativity. It is interesting, as the particles seem to be flickering between multiple dimensions at a speed fast enough to sustain itself in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Setting quantum physics aside for a second, we must quickly delve into the world of computer science and understand how a standard computer works. All data on your standard PC is encoded in binary. Binary is a primitive computing code consisting of a series of zeros and ones. This information is shuffled at fast speeds to deliver data to the end user. Over time, programs are developed to take these codes and make them more user-friendly. From operating systems to simple desktop applications, everything is binary. Unfortunately, there are limitations to a system that is based on only 2 digits. This is just a natural flaw of the outdated system and will always limit mankind's ability to expand computing potential to handle complex equations that take humans decades to solve, or finally being able to map out complete genomes and expand on studies to cure life-threatening disease. Quantum computing lays claim to utilizing quantum physics to achieve the task of elevating above the limitations of binary. With quantum physics, one of the most amazing things that we have witnessed is how the world reacts when there is no human contact being made. Things seem to act differently when we removed ourselves from the equation when running tests on particles. In 2011, a company known as D-Wave, based out of Burnaby, British Columbia, announced the first ever commercially viable quantum computing system, boasting a 128-qubit processing unit housed within a large refrigeration system, which keeps the innards at just above absolute zero. With a bit, dealing with a 0 or 1, a qubit is not limited to those 2 options, it can be any combination of those 2 numbers, at the same time. This means the processing of data is handled differently than conventional computer systems. What D-Wave does is fire a specifically geared ray of light into an atom, triggering the change in its state, described in a binary state of 0 or 1. The device measures the time it takes for the atom to change from a 0 to a 1. It then fires the ray of light for half the time it takes for it to change. When this is done at a rapid speed, the atom is then held in both locations at once, allowing data to be processed much more efficiently. All of this seems overly technical and only relevant to a level that relates to how fast we process data if it weren't for the claims made by the company. The company has an active marketing platform of having the ability to manipulate existence. This is not a claim made lightly. They absolutely have on record made the claim that with their ability to control superpositioning on an atomic level, they have somehow cracked the code that is set up to keep dimensions from coming into contact. In recent presentations, the company has elaborated more about the ability to scale quantum computing down to a microscopic level, but no words as to how this could be related. It may just show credence to the company's never-ending charge towards the boundaries in which man should tread carefully, with talks of developing AI smarter than mankind, or a device that accesses the state of existence. A very close eye should be kept on D-Wave if we plan to learn more about what is going on. Not much more information has been released about the advancements from the company's involvement in multidimensional studies, or NASA and their use of the D-Wave 2X system, which has twice the processing capabilities of the device mentioned earlier. This is not a definite answer as to what is responsible for the Mandela Effect. Just a mere piece in a puzzle that we strive to put together. Join us next time as we report on CERN and their potential involvement in the Mandela Effect and how they could very well be rubbing it directly in our faces. To those who feel as if they are not home, we are here to say, you are not alone.
But I'm going to give you a roundabout way of understanding this. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference, and that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, these are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other and never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to, until such time when you get to a chip like this, which has about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip. So the way I think about it is that the shadows of these parallel worlds overlap with ours. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours to make an effect in our world. Now, this may sound very odd to you and bizarre, and in fact, I am using language that a normal theoretical physicist probably wouldn't use, but this is, what I'm telling you is absolutely correct and in line with the way that these things actually work.